Hello, everyone, and welcome to a really special episode. So, as you might have realized, we're doing some review episodes of PSL strategies for PSL 9, and I am lucky enough to be able to interview GM Islamabad United Rehan Ulhaq. Rehan, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling really good, really excited about the season, and glad to be on the show.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, so I want to start with this, and I think this is obvious. You had like a blockbuster pre draft trade thing going on where at one point everyone thought that Peshawar was going to steal away Naseem, and then everyone thought that Multan was going to steal away Naseem, and then whispers of Islamabad United started like coming in, and everyone was like, no, no way. And not only did you gain Naseem, you also got probably the second best all rounder. Some people might call him the best all rounder in Pakistan, but I'm a Shadab fan, so I'm biased. So you got Imad as well. So tell me about that. Tell me about how that felt. I mean,
Yeah,
do you think these are the best two trades that have ever happened before a season?
I think personally for me, the trade that this is up there with the trades that we've pulled off. But I think the Alex Sales trade was also another one that was
Yeah.
very last minute, and it took a lot of hard work behind the scenes. But after that, yeah, I think these two trades to pull off the two trades in the same window. I'll be honest with you, I was myself a little surprised that we were able to pull both the trades off. Regarding Imad, I think it's a really exciting prospect because he fits into the style of cricket we play, especially the style of cricket that he's been playing over the last year and a half. So he was outstanding all rounder in PSL 8, and not just the bowling, the batting was which clicked for
Hmm.
him. And then he went to the CPL, and he was the in terms of impact, the highest impact player. If you see the MVP impact rankings, he was the highest impact player in the CPL as well. So he's had a fantastic year, and we had no doubts. And he's an Islamabad boy as well. So we wanted to bring that flavor in as well. That association with the city. A lot of times get asked these questions: Why don't you have more local players? But we're glad to have someone of the quality of Imad joining Islamabad, and his role. I think we're very clear on his role. He's picked as an all rounder, and with
Hmm.
Shadab and him in the team, that provides you with the option to put them up the order, extend your batting lineup, also
Yeah.
extend your bowling lineup. So I mean, there were once he became available, and also add to the fact that he had retired from international cricket,
Yeah.
so that allowed us to make him mentor. So
Yeah.
that's another thing that was really exciting for us. So I think as soon as he became available and we understood that he can become a mentor, we went after him without thinking twice. And the
Yeah,
other
I
trade,
feel
I think that's
Yeah, I mean, Naseem is obviously a massive, massive trade, but I think Param and I even discussed this on a previous show that we did for GRC, where I think we both agreed that the Imad trade just fit perfectly. Naseem is Naseem, right? One of the best talents we'll ever see in Pakistan cricket. But getting Imad with exactly with his playing style, with how good he's been for T20 leagues, and then if you speak about your middle order, that's obviously Imad fits right in, like you said. You've got Shadab, you've got Azam, you've got Jordan Cox is also brilliant. You've got Imad, you've got Fahim.
yeah.
Is this what sets you apart from other teams? I'm thinking of my own team in Lahore Qalandars, and I love them, but our middle order is a little bit lacking. You don't have to agree or disagree. I know you can't. But is that what will take you all the way potentially?
I think we feel that way. Yeah, I think
Hmm.
we feel that the middle order is one of our strengths.
Yeah,
We feel that with the flexibility that our middle order has is the one thing that really excites us, because you can move Imad, Shadab, Azam, and Jordan Cox anywhere between 3 to 6. So
exactly.
depending on the matchup, move them, and all of them are equally comfortable at batting at any of those positions. So I think
Yeah,
that's the exciting thing here. And I do feel that in terms of middle order options and local order options, we I feel that we have an edge on other teams. If you
100%.
talk about Lahore Qalandars, I'm okay talking about them. There's a little envy towards them as well because of their
Yeah,
bowling lineup. It is, despite missing Rashid Khan, it's a sensational bowling lineup with the likes of Shaheen, Haris, and Zaman. I mean, in
yeah,
T20 cricket, if you get those three pacers, they would line up in most world 11 teams right now. So I mean, obviously that's something that we envy, but that's their strength, and our strength is on the
yeah,
other hand is more our middle order, our all rounders.
yeah,
So I mean, you can compete with what your strength is, and
yeah,
we're hoping that this year we always fail at that last hurdle before the final.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm trying to not make too many changes, but make enough changes so that we can cross the line this season.
Yeah. So I want to talk about bowling, but before I do that, while we're talking about middle order options, I thought your picks for Qasim Akram and Salman Ali Agha were really interesting. I know why you picked them. I think you did a video for Islamabad United only where you talked about why you picked Agha. But I want to know, do you potentially see
Yeah.
yourself starting one of them?
I think one of them will definitely, in
Yeah.
all probability, be in the starting.
Okay.
And we looked at, so when we were going after Qasim and Aga, it was very simple for us. Get someone who's flexible, get
Mm-hmm.
someone who can provide you a matchup with a left-hander batting. So if you need an off-spinning option, you have an off-spinner in your team who can bowl to
Yeah.
left-handers, which we haven't had in the last 2 3 seasons.
Yeah.
And that's the guy can then bat as well. So
Yeah.
with Aga and Qasim, the good thing is that if for example, hypothetically, a wicket falls early, one of them can come into bat at number three. If a
Mm-hmm.
wicket falls late, you
Yeah.
can change the batting order and go more dynamic. So I mean, the thought process was very clear on that, that we wanted similar type of players. I honestly, at the draft, I did not expect we'd get both. I
Yeah.
thought we'd get one of them.
Yeah.
So when Qasim became available, I was like, there was no second thoughts on that as well.
Mm-hmm.
And we've gone through a lot of data analytics with Mike Hesson, Ben Jones, myself,
Yeah.
Shadab, and we realized that in terms of what we were missing a off-spin bowling all-rounder.
Yeah.
So in the squad, so I think both of them potentially can be in the starting 11. One
Yeah.
at least at one time
Yeah.
is what
Yeah.
we're looking at right now.
I like the idea of slotting Aga or Qasim. I mean, I don't know. Qasim's young, but hopefully he'll get his stuff together. But I like the idea of them being at number three, especially if a wicket falls early. And I feel like that's something that about Islamabad United, why non-fans like or people who maybe slander them a little bit, guilty, watch Islamabad United so closely because you wouldn't expect a lot of teams to kind of go down that route. But I like that. I hope it
Yeah,
happens. Not that actually, yeah, I hope it happens. I don't even feel bad about saying I hope wickets fall early. And I see Aga walking
yeah,
out. Let's talk about bowling.
yeah,
Let's talk about bowling, right? You've got an attack leader now. Now, honestly, I'm of the
yeah,
opinion I might be a minority where I felt like last season it wasn't your bowling that really failed you. I thought Hassan stepped up despite his lack of form.
yeah.
I thought that you guys were okay. I thought it's in fact your batting that failed you. But now you have managed to not just beef up your batting, but you've massively, massively improved your bowling. Tell me about the importance of Naseem Shah
Yeah.
and having a leader.
I think Hassan did as you said, Hassan did a really good job for us as the leader of the bowling attack. And this season we were also struggling with the fact that a lot of our players were diamond. So Wasim
Yeah,
Junior, Fahim Ashraf, Hassan Ali, and for Azam Khan as well. All of them were diamond. You can only have two of them
yeah,
in local players in diamond category. So we had to let two of
yeah,
them go. So eventually we had to see what best trade options we would get. So we
yeah,
got a really good trade option with Hassan. We got a really good trade option with Wasim. So that's
yeah,
why they were let go. But in terms of Naseem, the thing that Naseem provides us is reliability. He is as
yeah,
reliable as they come. He might not pick up as many wickets as some of the others,
yeah.
but he will hit those lengths. He's very clever. He's very clever with his change-ups. And for a guy who's his age, I've worked with him in the Pakistan team as well. I think he's one of the most intelligent people I've met in terms of cricket
Mhm.
understanding. He's very clever. He understands the pitches very really well. He adjusts his lengths really well to pitches. So I think that's the key. And the other thing is that he also wanted to join Islamabad United, and that's
Yeah,
when it's something that you want when a player of yes, you're bringing in a star player. You also want them to want to be there.
yeah,
So I
100%.
know there was from multiple teams, and for him to say
Yeah,
that his priority is this is something that made us go one step further as well.
yeah,
So that's I think that's the exciting part. And again, with Naseem, you get a player of that quality, a bowler of that quality, and you just say that he has to be there. And I'm
yeah,
sure every team, other than Lahore Qalandars who have like crazy bowling options, every other
yeah,
team would have wanted him. So I mean, there's no doubt that he's world class,
yeah.
and we are very closely assessing his medical situation as well. We are in touch with the doctors.
Mhm.
So he's bowling right now
Awesome.
in the nets, which is a great sign.
Yeah.
He's expected to be fully fit well before the PSL.
Yay, that's
Uh,
amazing.
Yeah, and so even then, we've consulted a few doctors as well, and
Hmm.
we've worked around his workload management as well, and we'll have that discussion with him when the time comes. So we will
Yeah,
look to protect him as well, because he's not only a key player for Pakistan, also Islamabad United, but at Islamabad United we also want to make sure that he's available for the back end of the tournament. So
yeah.
that's how we're trying to plan for him.
Yeah, one of my questions was going to be about Naseem's availability, but you've answered that. Okay, but with Naseem being available, that's 4 overs of yours like set, and obviously Shadab and Fahim and all. But I am curious about your death bowling. Do you feel
Yeah,
like Tom Curran's going to be kind of helpful on that front? It can't be Matthew Ford. I mean, he's new still to international cricket, and the
yeah,
glimpse I got him at death bowling, I feel like he's better with the new ball. But
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So with Matthew Ford, he's a long-term prospect. It's not just for this season.
Yeah,
Anyone you talk to in the Caribbean, they rate him as the next big thing in the West Indian cricket, in terms of the fact that he's an
yeah,
all-rounder who hits the ball big. They think of him as someone who can eventually go and replace someone like an Andre Russell even. So
nice.
he's there for that reason. So it's not just his bowling. I mean, you look at his stats and you think of his bowling, but see what he did in the LPL, the 50 that he scored in the LPL,
Yeah,
and some of the other good innings, good finishes that he's had. So his batting ability is the other thing that really excited us.
mhm,
Mike
yeah,
Hesson is a huge fan of him as well. So there's that. But in the death bowling department, I think we went for Timal Mills because of that.
yeah,
We went for Hunain Shah because of that. Hunain has
yeah,
really, really good death numbers. His sample size isn't that big, but the sample size that we have, he's one of the best.
yeah,
Then you have someone like a Roman Reis. Then you have a
yeah,
Shahab Khan, who was the highest wicket taker in the national team.
yeah.
So I feel that in terms of our local bowling options, we have enough there to cover the death bowling. Obviously,
Brilliant.
Naseem's the other one, but with Shahab and Roman, you expect that you can cover that death bowling, and Hunain as well. But the
Yeah,
guy that I'm really excited about, and I'll be honest with you, when he was picked, I had a lot of discussions with Shadab and Mike as well on going after the third Shah brother. But Mike
yeah.
was able to convince us all that it's all for cricketing reasons, and he has seen clips of Ubaid, and Azam had spoken really highly of Ubaid, and Shadab had spoken really highly of. I'll be honest with you, Naseem wasn't too comfortable with the fact that all his brothers are being picked, because he thought that would
Really?
create a false narrative. But I think Ubaid's another really exciting prospect.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I feel like the general consensus when you picked that third one was like the three Islamabad United fans that I'm friends with were losing their heads and everyone else was just envious. I don't think I can't imagine there being negative connotations to that because it's kind of perfect. And with that, your future pace attack is set. So no more jokes about Islamabad United's, medium pacers and all of that jazz. But yeah. But what about the future of your spin bowling? I know that technically we're supposed to talk about PSL 9, but it
Yeah.
does. I am just curious because you don't have a brar. Shadab and Imad are great, 100%, but
Yeah.
they're not going to be around
Yeah.
forever, even though Shadab is still really young. What about like you don't have Arafat Minhas, you don't have Miran? Have you thought about that at all?
Yeah, yeah. So we've thought, so that's why we went for someone like a Mubassir, who was an outstanding performer in the Qazistan
Yeah,
Trophy for 2 years. So that's why we had
brilliant.
him for 2 years with us. And it's
Hmm.
much easier to pick these players when they're in emerging category. Once they move above emerging category, it becomes an issue.
Yeah, 100%.
So Mubassir is no longer an emerging player.
Yeah.
So I mean, we do look at that, and we have a couple of targets in the future. I can't name them, but for next season's draft, we do have
Okay.
a couple of people in mind who we want to have. And usually, the planning is never one season. I think
Hmm.
sometimes we are guilty of planning too long term.
Yeah.
I think we've been guilty of that in the past. Because when Shada was made captain, we had one of the youngest teams. I think we had the youngest core of Pakistani players. Now they've
Yeah.
all grown up and gone on to play for
Yeah.
Pakistan as well. But the thing is
Yeah.
that now we're looking at short term and long term. So we've picked the team accordingly, and I think you will see in the future, and maybe even sooner than future, even this season, you may see someone exciting coming in.
Brilliant. Yeah, no, awesome. I'm so
Yeah.
happy to hear that. Like, I think that's the only thing that I could really find when I was like, "Oh, I need to find some criticism to ask him about." I was like, yeah, they don't have any young spin options. But okay, let's talk a little bit about your top order and particularly about Shamil Hussain. So,
Yeah.
you've got Hazel Monroe, and like you said, you've got the hit out or get out. Actually, I don't know if you said that, but I believe Islamabad United has a hit out or get out style. You've lost Gurbaz. I think that was to do with availability. Um, is Shamil, I mean, how important is Shamil to this side? And do you feel like he'll be starting? And what do you, how are you seeing him?
So Shamil provides us two things. Let's say one of our emerging pacers is injured or isn't being able to perform at the level that
Yeah.
you need at this level. Then you can put in Shamil at the top of the order and bring in a foreign pace option, an extra foreign pace option, or you can play one of Shahab. You can add Roman there. So Shamil provides us with a plan B, and
Hmm.
Shamil is also part of Plan A. Plan A is that Shamil is a long-term prospect.
Yeah.
He's done really well at the under 19 levels, and he's an exciting future prospect. And he's someone that if the circumstances and stars align for him, he can be a top player for Pakistan in the future. So that was
Yeah.
the reason behind picking him. That not only does he provide Plan B, but also he provides you with that future, that idea of bringing in a young player who goes to play for.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Interesting. Yeah. No, I was really excited about that pick as well. Okay, I want to ask one thing. You're Samad United. You're gonna play at Pindi, and I don't know how the schedule is this time, but last time I would say that the Pindi leg was a little bit especially to Peshawar, tell me a little bit unfair the way things were organized. But tell me, now you've got a pace attack that can hold itself. You've also got a stacked batting lineup. I think you had that last season as well, but it was definitely, I think they did not live up to their potential, especially in the Pindi games at the back end. How important is this stacked batting lineup and winning at Pindi? Or would you say your bowling is what's going to take you there?
I think it's in Pindi. I think Pindi's depends on what pitch you get at Pindi.
Yeah,
You may have the best bowling lineup in Pindi, and you'd still go up for 190, 200 runs.
yeah,
So in Pindi, normally usually need to outscore the opposition.
yeah,
So I remember when we played our first 2 3 games in Pindi, the pitch wasn't as flat as they were later on.
yeah,
And we chased 180, we chased 200.
yeah,
Actually we chased 200 a couple of times.
yeah,
So I think in Pindi last season we'd won 6 out of the first 9 games, and we needed one more win in the top two. We lost that game to Zalmi,
yeah,
which I still think we
yeah,
should have won.
yeah,
And then in the playoff we lost to Zalmi again.
yeah,
But you have to win at home. This such is the
yeah.
format that you have to at least win 3 out of 5 at home, which we did last season. But I think
Yeah,
we can improve even further on that, because you see Lahore success, you see Multan success, they rarely lose at home. And
yeah.
that's where we are trying to work hard on working out Pindi, and maybe getting more home wins than we usually do.
Okay, so another question that I want to ask you is about your hopes for PSL 9. And I know Islamabad United obviously wants to win another trophy. But beyond that, like, how much was the PSL 8 season playing on your mind when you were developing strategies, when you were trying to rectify your mistakes? And considering that, considering what possibly went wrong, why you guys didn't make as, the final or even, get to the trophy, how is that affecting your kind of dreams for PSL 9? Are the hopes still really, really high, or is it more like, no, no, we're rebuilding?
No, I think the rebuilding process started in PSL 5. I
Hmm.
think at this point in time, we're really disappointed with the last two
Yep,
seasons. I think we were amazing in PSL 6. Couldn't won 8 out of 10 group games, but
yeah,
couldn't get past the line over the line in the playoffs. In 7, we were needed some like 8 of 9 balls,
yeah,
and uh,
yeah,
mm, did Visa things, and so we're really disappointed by that. But if you let those things play too much into your mind, then you overcorrect.
yeah,
And we feel as an entire unit that some things are working really well. Let's stick to them,
yeah,
and some things that are not working as well, let's try and rectify them. And that's why we went really aggressively after trades this season.
yeah,
That's why. When we went into the draft, we had a very clear idea of where we want to strengthen. So we, for example, the Qasim Akram Salman Ali Yaga thing is the off spin all rounder option that we haven't had. Mubassir was there, but he was an emerging player, so we needed a more
Mhm.
reliable option in that sense. So we've tried to rectify that. In terms of how we played in PSL 8, I think we weren't bad. I think winning 6 out of the first 9 games, we were on track. But after that, the last 2 games were really disappointing.
Yeah.
So I mean, the 2 games against Zalmi, I mean, even if we had won one of them, we would have been in the top three.
Yeah.
So that's the disappointing part. If you overthink about one game, then you end up overcompensating and destroying the good things that you've built on. So there's that. The hope is obviously to play the final.
Yeah.
We haven't played in the longest time. I've had tweets from I don't know, 1,000 people telling me that how long we've not played a final for, and I would want to tell them that I'm as aware as you are and as disappointed as you are. uh, and everyone in the team is, as and the aim is to win the trophy.
Yeah.
The aim always is to go all the way. Even when we started the rebuild process in PSL 5, and we were very clear that it's a transition period. Even then, the aim was to win the trophy.
Yeah.
That's the only time we've not done as well
Yeah.
in the group stages. So yeah, I think in terms of the other hope that we have this hope that every season for the first 6 seasons we had someone in the Islamabad emerging category going on to play for Pakistan.
Yeah.
So in the last 2 seasons we haven't had that, so we would want that to happen as well.
Yeah.
And Hunain, Ubaid, Shamil, all three
Yeah.
of them potentially can do that.
100%.
So that's another hope that we have. That's another aim and ambition that we have this season.
Yeah, I love that actually. And I love that you mentioned emerging players playing for Islamabad United. I feel like player development is something that teams like Lahore and Islamabad take very seriously, and they get recognition for it, which I really appreciate. All right. So the last thing I want to
Just
do.
one thing, just one thing
Yeah.
on the player development
Yeah.
thing. Okay. So I've heard numerous people say to us, Lahore, and other franchises that these players did not come through the PSL; they were already in the system, and they played domestic cricket and they were playing under 19. And no one at the franchise is saying that they did not do this.
Yeah.
Okay, no one is saying that. The thing that people need to understand is that the financial security comes from playing in the PSL.
100%.
Then you can buy the equipment that you need to get to that level. The franchise then supports you to get to that level in case of any injuries or anything. I've seen plenty of franchises supporting
Yeah.
their players. So in every, and I don't understand this sentiment in Pakistan, that the one cash cow that we do have is the Pakistan Super
Yeah.
League, right? So instead of protecting the league and building it up, what we end up doing is, and I think I don't I fail to understand why we try to damage the brand itself.
Yeah.
I mean, I've always been very open and very appreciative of Lahore Qalandars and what they've done for
Yeah.
players. And there are rivals, but the fact of the matter is that they do have a brilliant
Yeah.
program. And the fact of the matter is that even if one player comes through that program, it is unbelievably good.
Yeah.
And Haris Rauf is the peak example of that.
Yeah.
And so a lot of these players who've gone on to play for Pakistan, I'm not sure if they would have been picked up so early had they not played in the
Yeah.
PSL. And let's be honest about it, because I can give you 1,000 examples from before the PSL when there were a lot of young guys, 19, 20, 21 years old, performing, but they were never used to get recognized because it was not on TV.
Yeah.
It was not for general consumption. So I mean, that's a great thing.
Yeah.
The PSL does provide you with that, and then teams around the world take notice.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. Qasim Akram, a CPL team was interested in picking him up, and they, if it wasn't for NOC issues or whatever, he would have
It's
gone there.
amazing.
Saim Ayub is another one who only played. He was picked by the CPL team before he had played for Pakistan.
Yeah.
He played after he had played for Pakistan, but they were interested in him
Yeah.
because they saw him in the PSL. So I mean, that's a great economical benefit for our players, for our cricket board, for our country. And I sometimes don't understand why this argument comes up, because no one is denying the fact that they did come through that process that was built, the youth system and everything. But you do need that recognition, and you do need that finance.
Yeah.
Without that finance, you cannot buy the best equipment and compete with the best in the world.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
believe the PSL and the franchises that do commit to this. It's a service to cricket in Pakistan. They don't have to do it. The fact that they do it has made our league much better, made our cricket much better. It's why even when we're flailing in ODIs and tests, we're still one of the best teams in the world in T20s because of the kind of quality of
Yeah,
cricket that we have in the PSL and our local players. But yeah, 100%, I
yeah.
completely agree with that. I really like your sentiment, and I know that Lahore Qalandars is already doing something for women's cricket. I know Multan Sultans as well, and I hope, if it's not too forward of me, that Islamabad United will soon as well contribute to developing players.
I think just one thing here. So I don't know if people remember this, but in PSL 3 and 4, we had this program in which our brand ambassadors were Diana Baig,
Yeah,
Bisma
I remember
Maroof.
that. Yeah,
Yeah. So I mean, we've done that in the past as well, and we do plan to do that in the future
brilliant,
as well. Yeah, and that's something that's very close to the heart of our ownership.
brilliant,
I mean, one of Amna Naqvi, for example, is very keen on that. So I mean, that's something that we don't want to pursue for one season or two
awesome.
seasons. We want to set a proper platform for it and have it long term.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing. I'm really
Yeah.
happy to hear that. I know that was off topic, but I'm really happy to hear that. Okay, so before we kind of sign off from here, there's a fun little segment that I want to do. I'm going to say a bunch of phrases, and you have to say what you feel about that one phrase in one word. So any adjective,
Okay.
any word really, it could be a noun as well. The first one
Okay.
is the Shah brothers.
Pace.
Islamabad's first three seasons.
Unbelievable.
Islamabad's last three seasons.
Unbelievable.
Islamabad's batting depth.
uh, Amazing. Yeah.
Shadab as captain.
Clever.
Islamabad's trades and drafts.
Unexpected.
Lahore Islamabad PSL rivalry.
Mind blowing.
Zalmi revenge.
Yes.
And finally, PSL 9.
mm, Transition.
I love that. And I hope, I mean, actually, probably shouldn't say that. I hope you're transitioning to a trophy. I hope you're transitioning to runners up. I feel like my fellow Kalandar fans will
Yeah.
be really mad at me if I
I
say,
think with PSL line, I transition. I mean, for the entire league,
yeah. Oh,
not just for.
nice.
Yeah.
Would you care
I
to
think
elaborate on that? Sorry.
I think a lot of people have said that no big name players are coming in. There's been a lot of negativity
Yeah.
towards the foreign player list, but Alex Hales, Colin
Yeah.
Munro, Riley Russo, these guys are top
Yeah.
picks. They were retained, so people did not recognize कि, oh, okay, they're already in
Yeah.
teams, right? And maybe if the other big name players did not come in, the quality of foreign players is good,
Yeah.
and we're heading into windows where it will get even more tighter.
Yeah.
So it's imperative that the fans, the cricket board, the franchises all get together to make this a bigger brand, because eventually, to survive in the world of cricket, you need to have your franchise league working.
Yeah.
So as simple as that. You've seen what's happened in South Africa.
Yeah.
You've seen what will happen outside the big three teams. So the league becomes the most important asset that a cricket board has.
Yeah.
So that's why I feel that this season is very, very important in terms of the positivity
Yeah.
that comes out of it, no matter who wins. But in terms of where we're headed to the future, this season is extremely vital, because then you have season 10, and then you will have after season 10 there's a potential
Yeah.
of new teams coming in as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, no, that actually makes sense. Yeah, I know. I feel like fans were a little bit harsh. But PSL is going to survive and thrive. It has for many years now, and hopefully it'll get even better. But yeah, thank you
Yeah.
so, so much for joining us, and best of luck for the season ahead. It was really nice speaking with you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having
All
me.
right. Thanks for watching, everyone. Like and comment. And if you have any questions for Rehan, please leave them below. I will send them over in DMs or something of the sort. But yeah, and if you feel like, as a Zalmi fan or Lahore fan, that you disagree with some of the things he said, feel free to comment that as well. We love a bit of rivalry in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching.